This weekend, the Houston Chamber Choir is closing out their 2023-24 season with a show called Brubeck, a celebration. So we're here with the show's producer this morning, Art Gottschalk, and jazz musician Chris Brubeck, one of Dave's sons. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming in. I want to talk about the show first, and Art, you're the producer of this. Brubeck, a celebration, and we're going to be doing some music. Tell folks what the show is going to be all about Saturday night.
Well, the show is a concert with two jazz quartets, orchestra and choir, a spectacular. And we'll be doing some of the well-known works of Dave Brubeck and some of the lesser-known works, symphonic works, choral works, as well as jazz standards.
I think that's what's so interesting to me, Chris. When, at least folks like me would think about your dad, I think Take Five.
Right.
And some of his incredibly cool jazz compositions.
Yeah.
But he was a lot more than that, and I, for one, didn't know that. What else did he do throughout his career musically that we don't know that much about?
So much. I mean, he wrote, I think at last count, 18 oratorios or cantatas, major works with orchestra, chorus, 45 minutes long, a lot of times with biblical texts. You know, just as a quote-unquote modern American classical composer, he was very big at what he did. But when he was alive, it was frustrating to him too that, you know, everyone just thought of him as a jazz musician. Like, you know, if it was a Venn diagram, like 100% knew he was a great jazz musician, and like maybe 20% knew that he did all this other amazing stuff.
Right. So did he start with the jazz and then worked his way, or was he always sort of composing it all at the same time?
No, well, always with jazz.
Okay.
And in fact, there was a point when he was doing a lot of covers of, like, you know, tunes like Jeepers Creepers and T for Two with really cool arrangements. And Paul Desmond said, you know, we need to hire a composer to help with band originals. I said, are you kidding? I can compose. So in 1 week, he wrote The Duke and In Your Own Sweet Way, both two songs that went on to be recorded by Miles Davis and are considered jazz standards. So my father wrote over 600 jazz tunes. Yeah. Never mind all these other choral compositions.
Right. Art, why was it so important to bring this other music to the forefront?
Well, you know, my friend Paul English, one of the great jazz musicians locally, has been playing Dave's music in the church, the serious vocal music. And I became acquainted with his work through those efforts. And then last year, I was talking with some other musicians, and we said, you know, this music has really not been recorded properly. It hasn't been brought to the attention of a public that we think would like it. And I said, you know, I went to school with Chris Brubeck. I think we can do this. Houston may be one of the few places that can really do this, that has the orchestral and choral and jazz resources to do it. But let me call my friend Chris and see if he's interested. And Chris said, absolutely. He was just going through 200 boxes of his father's music at that time and said, I think we might find some things we could do.
Right, and obviously it did. How long has this taken then?
Oh, we've been working on it for a year and a half at least.
Almost 2 years.
Is that right? So was it hard to pick what you would feature, what you would focus on?
It was. I mean, some of the end results had to do with practicality. In fact, it's sort of some of the big orchestral pieces with a very large orchestra. Yeah. Art decided with us that it was really better to push it into a next year project when we could have more forces. So we're having a chamber orchestra, and so we've done new orchestrations. And some of Dave's famous tunes, like Blue Rondo a la Turk, I've put new lyrics to, or a two-part contention. So there are actually a lot of premieres involved in this, where it's reworking Dave's original concept of melody and harmony, but then orchestrating in such a way that it, like two-part contention is going to be very Bach-like, and the choir is really featured with new lyrics on that.
I have to imagine if your dad was still around, he would love that you guys are putting this out there.
He would. He really would. And yeah. We were very fortunate. My relationship with my dad was, you know, when I was 5 years old, I was crawling around listening to his famous quartet rehearse. Then we got better. Then we started sharing the stage with him. Then we toured as a family. My brother Dan's a drummer in the Brubeck Brothers Quartet. Then it got to the point where we had a relationship where we were co-composing orchestral pieces together. So my father became more like an older brother.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And you guys did an album together, at least one, didn't you?
Oh,
with
yeah.
your brothers and your dad?
Yeah. We did at least 4.
Yeah. Was that, I say fun, I mean, how do you describe working with your dad, who's a genius? I mean, what is that like?
Well, it's an incredible honor. And especially in his later
And let me
years.
ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt. Am I putting too much on him? I mean, he's your dad, so to you, maybe he was more of a regular guy. To those of us that just listen to it, blessed with his music, it's like, here's this musical genius. Am I making too much of that?
No, I mean, he was a genius. And you know, if I couldn't figure that out, the fact that we would have visitors to our house like Chick Corea or Herbie Hancock telling me he's a genius too, I kind of put two and two together.
Dude, were you starstruck? Like, at what age did it finally register? Like, these are some of the biggest names of all time in this genre of music that are coming to my house.
Yeah. Well, you know, you feel it when you go on stage. I mean, when Dave was in his 80s, he'd walk on stage and he'd get an instant standing ovation just from all the people that loved his music and like, oh my God, he can still walk on stage. And over I'd hear like, he walked out, we said like, oh my God, he's a little teetered over, he's moving too slowly, what's gonna happen? And then he would sit down and as Herbie Hancock said, instantly, decades would go away as he'd play the piano. And so one of the last gigs he did was on Father's Day up at Ravinia, a big outdoor festival like Tanglewood near Chicago, and it was me and my other musical brothers, Matthew, a cellist, and Darius, a piano player. We lived all over the world. We got there together and played with Dad, and it was about 3 shows before he finally said it's time to hang it up. You know?
Incredible career he had. And,
amazing.
And we love that you guys are bringing some of this music. Well, the show is Saturday night. Where's it going to be on campus?
It's
What are the
in the concert
details?
hall at Rice University. Just between Rice Boulevard and University Boulevard. Lots of parking, a great experience.
And there's the website, folks, on the screen. It's HoustonChamberChoir.org/Brubeck. You can get your tickets. And then I know there's going to be a record coming out of this as well, just to start. And then, what, in the future, we can expect another show, another album? Where do we go from here, guys?
The best way to do it is the way we're doing it, I think, where we play live for public and then immediately go in the studio. So we're staying in Studio Hall for the next 4 days, thanks to Rice University and the Shepherd School of Music, and recording.
That's a great venue, and I wish you both luck and have a great time, too.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Owen.
A pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for a great interview. You obviously have an enthusiasm for this. I deeply appreciate
I
it.
tell you what, I've tried learning Take 5 on the piano many times, and it's my go-to whenever I start a jazz playlist. I say, Alexa, play Dave Brubeck, Take 5, and then the fun starts at my house. Pleasure to meet you
Great.
both.
Thank you.
Good luck
Thank
with the
you.
show.